However, the ship that John Kelly filmed, the one that I saw, it looked different in the way he filmed it. Apparently, when you see it with your own eyes, the lens changes things. But it was also pinkish orange. But the one you're stating was on a Sunday, and I had left. But people at my hotel saw it, and they just couldn't believe it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's funny. It was on the one came out on the 4th of July, and we thought it was fireworks because they let fireworks off at the school over there at first, and we saw this huge reddish orange ball rise up in the sky, and then it sat there for a while, and then it didn't come back down. It just sat there, and then next thing you know, it traveled towards us and went right over our heads. And John Raleigh was out there, and he filmed it. He got some really good footage of it. Brooks Agnew was out there. He filmed it. I'm trying to think of who else. Renato Longato filmed it as well. With his famous saying, "I got it, I got it."
I got it. Of course.
Yeah, he goes, "I got it, again, I got it."
Yeah.
So that was amazing. But with all everybody filming it and then coming out right after the intention experiment, that pretty much is a slam dunk on the fact that UFOs are here and they are interacting with us, and the redundant giving exact dates and times over and over again to Paranormal State and BBC and ABC and Fox News and everything, and they got their footage as well. I'm really surprised that a lot of the UFO community just hasn't gotten over it yet, that it is ongoing, and it's amazing that they're not becoming a part of this, because we do share everything with them.
And this is the part that I don't understand. When you have people from all walks of life going to East Side and to James Ranch and experiencing this, and if you've seen some of the videos that James have posted, it's not James sitting in a lounge chair by himself looking up. You can hear the dozens of people around you saying, "My God, look at that! Power up! We love you," etc. So it's something that so many people see. At the same time, the skeptics, they will completely try to debunk no matter what you provide. And here's another example. Somebody sent me a picture of me and some in the group there, and I saw the picture and I saw this strange thing coming out of my head. It looked like smoke, or I don't know how to explain it. But then somebody else sent me another picture. I believe it was from a different camera, and the same thing can be seen around my head. It's not an orb. It's I cannot explain it. Somebody called it an ectoplasmic. I'm not sure about the term, James, but do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's plasma. Usually when you're being contacted or worked with, there's like a plasma field around you. The last class we did, Yigong classes here with Ginny Lamb, and she's been doing martial arts all her life, and we got together and we were doing some energy work together, and they took some photographs, and I had this huge ball of plasma like right on my head where my head's supposed to be, and then we had a heart-shaped object, right above us, this beautiful red heart-shaped, looked like an orb, but 3 times bigger than most orbs. It was amazing, but we get footage like that almost every day here. We just get crazy photographs.
And here's the issue with me. Somebody who comes from the corporate world, things have to be black and white. It's almost as if these things were hitting me in the head with a bat and saying, how much more proof do you want that your reality is not the real reality? We've been living in an illusion. There's more knowledge and there's more reality for us. All we need to do is look. And you can doubt people. You can doubt all you want, but you have to go. As everybody who listens to me know, I don't want to believe. I want to know. I took the trip to James Ranch. I was totally objective. I wanted to see if this was true or not. And believe me when I tell you that when I came back home, I was a different person. And I know a lot of people who were there share the same feeling, James.
Yeah, we had some great footage, from that event. I think it's amazing. A lot of these armchair investigators or scientists that throw stones from afar, especially the physicists and the scientists. The physics is there to explain this phenomenon if you apply it. And, they can measure less than 1% of the universe that we live in. They know there's at least 11 dimensions out there. But at the same time, they want you to give them physical proof of all of these non-physical events. But, the video and the camera isn't enough. The eyewitnesses aren't enough. And, they'll say, well, there was mass hypnosis. Well, I haven't been able to hypnotize my camera yet. I've tried, but it just keeps doing the same thing over and over again. But and then they say you photoshopped it. But, how do you Photoshop something that had, 200 witnesses present? And then
That's
you have,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, filmed by Lockheed engineers and triple PhD Boeing engineers who were there and witnessed it and testified on Coast to Coast and other shows as well. So it just seems like no matter how much evidence, you could just put a mountain of evidence and bury them in it, and they would dig their way out of it and say, I didn't see anything.
It's what I always say. And when I started this show, my second show was called Obama, the Disclosure President. And yes, those who are listening are probably laughing now. But I've come to the realization that disclosure will not come from governments. Folks, stop waiting for the governments to disclose. It's going to come at a grassroots level. And this is exactly what happens at ESETI. You go there and you see that this is real. You're not going to have any government admitting to this. Why? Because this has major repercussions. And I don't want to get into any conspiracy theory here, but it is true that oil rules the world. And if this technology, if we have it, and I have no way to prove that we do, at the same time I can't believe that we have the space shuttle as the epitome of our most advanced technology to travel to outside of the planet. So when you have the experiences that all of us have at James Ranch and see the proof, it's either we all got together and photoshopped or believe that what we're telling you is the truth.
I know this technology is out there because I've actually seen it and held it in my hand and stood right next to, Walter Rosenthal, which is a rocket man, with NASA, and right alongside him, and he was looking at it, took it apart, had it run again, incredible zero-point energy technology, and putting out massive output, no input, just massive output, and there's also counter-gravity as well. So it's out there, it does exist, and a lot of people know about it. The problem is, as you said, is the oil rules the world, and if you bring something out that's contradictory to that, they either buy you off or you disappear, one or the other. And if people don't think that's happening and this is just conspiracy talk, I know firsthand because I experienced it firsthand, and I've lost some friends in that process.
And there's people, many of us have seen videos of people who are no longer with us. I remember a couple of years ago I saw an individual who had a motor, a car motor that ran with water, and he disappeared. So all these people are subverted or destroyed. Somebody comes and says, hey, look, we'll give you $1 million. Let's keep the technology. Let's say General Motors comes along and buys it. We know what they're going to use it for. They're going to put it, store it away somewhere, and nobody's going to see. It's never going to see the light of day. So we also have to consider what can we do to convince people like Rosenthal and John Searle, who are coming forward with certain things, to allow more people to come forward with this in a way that can go viral to the point that cannot be stopped. That's something that you and I have to talk about because it's what we can do, James.
Exactly. I think, I have it on video. I have these motors running, and one is a motor for a flying car, and the other one was a fuelless energy device for a house. It would cover a house. And, we videotape these things running. We put loads on them. We put, what do you call them, the light sticks on them. We stuck stick after stick after stick, started plugging big drills, heavy-duty drills, equipment into it, turned them on. We had all these things running on this little tiny device you could hold in your hand, in the palm of your hand. And it didn't even phase it. It loved load. The more load you put on it, just kept, chugging along. And, but that had to be dismantled and put in different places because the inventor of it, had his lab blown up and family threatened, and it was a real mess. And I was kind of involved in that whole mess as well. So, but it's sad because even a lot of the people in the fuels energy community that you think are on our side are really not, and they were around some of these problems that came up.
And it's a sad state of affairs. All you have to do is go back 100 and some years ago when most cities in the United States had trains, electric trains everywhere. And all of a sudden, Michelin and the tire companies came along, lobbied with the local governments, and they eradicated most trains. And now you may find them in San Francisco and New Orleans every so often. But, this goes back in time. Once the oil started pouring in, there was no stop to it. Cures. We can talk about cures. We haven't seen one cure since the 50s when polio was discovered. And the same thing now. What kind of new technology do we come out? They come out with? We still build 747s and new planes. It's ancient technology. The problem is that it is still profitable to manufacture. And Dr. Paul Laviolette, who you may know, when he was on my show, he has written letters to NASA explaining how, and he had a system devised, how to avoid the space shuttle from being so hot on reentry to the atmosphere that it could cause an explosion. Well, less than a year after he did that, they didn't do anything, and the Columbia exploded. Airlines. I have a relative who's a high-ranking member of an airline, and he says that the profit margins are so thin. And if they could find a way to increase fuel consumption, that would be just a paradigm shift. However, that is a subject that is not allowed to even talk about. So Dr. Laviolette approached the airlines, and once again, they said, we don't need it. Although they could be saving 70% fuel consumption and have their planes go cross-country in the United States, breaking the sound barrier and transporting goods and people in a flash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely technology out there that's counter-gravity that, these planes would not fall out of the sky. It just wouldn't happen with these devices on them. So, there's so many things. I think about that. They let people, they sacrifice people on these space shuttles. They sacrifice people every day in other projects, and airline crashes and things like that. And they just allow this to happen when none of it has to happen. And it just seems that human life is just so valueless now and expendable. And there's just a mass effort to make a lot of us go away. That's my conclusion, especially after looking at all the food additives and everything else that's going on, and the GMO corn and other things that you can't even feed it to a rat because it kills it. You look at this whole program, you go, boy, this is just an exercise in mass genocide, and this isn't conspiracy thinking. This is just logic, like looking at the facts and the consequences of these actions, and it's just base common sense.
Absolutely, and some of us who are lucky to find out let me give you an example. When I moved to Florida, I was healthy, working out. I was about 22 years old, 23, and I all of a sudden started developing this weakness. I was tired all the time, and I didn't know what it was. I got concerned. I thought I was developing MS. So I went to the doctor, and the first thing she asked me was, okay, so tell me what you eat and drink. And at the time, I was eating a lot of Chinese food. I love Chinese food. And, okay, so what else do you drink? And I was drinking a gallon, one of those big gallons of diet soda every day. And she said, you need to stop this now, otherwise you're going to die. So I said to myself, what? I love Chinese food and diet soda. So I stopped. Not even a week later, I felt like a new person. And it was the NutraSweet and the MSG, which are the two most prevalent things you see now. I used to chew gum because I don't drink and I don't smoke. So I used to chew gum every so often to keep my concentration. And all of a sudden, less than 2 years ago, every single gum manufacturing company has put NutraSweet. So even the gum, and you see children eating gum on a daily basis, and that is proven. That gives you brain tumors, cancer, MS, and a lot of other maladies. So yes, you have to be very, very careful when you look at ingredients. Even if it says, let's say Splenda. Splenda comes from natural sugar. Not true. It has chlorine, and it's derived from pesticides. Try to give it to a dog. Try to put it next to an ant hill. And if they don't eat it, you shouldn't either.
You know, it's amazing the aspartame. You know, Rumsfeld had the patent on that, I guess, or pushed it through. But